A few years ago, I remember touring Tokyo during the best season, autumn. Weather was pretty cool and that contrasted to the blazing heat we have here in Singapore. Today, I'm going to talk to you about autumn. BQEYZ's Autumn. Let's go! Now, BQEYZ to the unfamiliar might sound like another Chinese company trying to create a cool sounding English name, but actually BQEYZ is actually an acronym. Thankfully, it has a cool meaning behind it. Best quality earphone for you with an additional Z behind because it was cool back in the 90s or 2000s to add Z's behind every single word. So yes, the company has a noble dream of making the best quality IENs for the listener. Specs. At the heart of the Autumn, it is a 13mm dynamic driver with 2 chambers. For those of us who are really into the DD sound, that spec alone is quite a rarity as most manufacturers tend to use smaller DDs from 4mm up to 10mm. So what does this mean? With a larger driver, bass reproduction will be more effortless as it is physically able to move more air. It also allows the IEN to sound more natural. Also with the double chamber, it allows for the driver to perform more consistently with a more even level of airflow to the drivers. The chassis of Autumn is a beautiful CNC aluminum shell. My pair came in benzo blue, but there is also an ash green version. Either way, the shell is exquisitely made. You might have already noticed that there is a strange pot protrusion on the side of the IEN. The Autumn has 3 pairs of filters for you to augment the style of bass. Grey being the most bassy, gold is neutral, while silver reduces the quantity of bass. I must add that these filters are magnetic, so you do not need to do anything that might give you syphilis, such as screwing them. It's the use of a magnetic tool to change the filters out. This is surprisingly easy. Also, the filters are very securely stuck into the slot, so there is no need to worry about them dropping out. Just for you to know, this review is done with the gold filters in place, which is the neutral filter. Now, the Autumn comes in a 2-pin configuration. The cable that is paired with it is rather pretty. I really like its shiny grey colour. It comes nicely braided. But one thing to note though, it is a little tangly. Not the worst like the Moondrop Aria, but it's something to note about. Material-wise, it is using a mix of copper and silver-plated copper. Fit-wise, I have nothing to complain about, which is great. It is really comfortable. Also, just something to add to annoy the Sony Z1R fans, the Autumn fits better than the Z1R. But I really like how the Z1R sounds, so you know. Now, sound. Autumn sounds very organic and natural. This is its biggest strength. It is really like the black V60 brew of coffee in the IEN bowl, which allows you to taste the purest flavour of your coffee. Likewise, the Autumn presents you in a very natural presentation of music as how the mastering was intended to be. This is a very mature tuning and honestly, BQEYZ surprised me. Cheaper earphones tend to up the mid-bass and treble to make it a little bit more flavorful to listen, but BQEYZ did just the opposite. Kudos to them though, I really appreciate this ballsy move. But for such a tuning, the IEN must have adequate technicalities for it to be an enjoyable listen. Let's find out more. Now, starting with bass, a linear presentation where the sub-bass blends naturally into the mid-bass. There are no over-exaggerated bass frequencies, despite the large DD might hint at. Timbre on the bass frequencies are on point. Instruments such as the double bass sounds incredibly realistic without any mid-bass overemphasis. Transients on bass frequencies is also good, not overly fast where bass becomes a little bit too focused, nor too slow when it becomes lethargic. One thing I do enjoy about the bass is how present they are. But without the pressurized feeling, it's like the note hits and resonates away very naturally rather than an over-nauseating over-rumble. Moving on to mid-range, vocals on the Autumn are again very natural sounding. It sits nicely between warmth and analytical. There is a nice velvety character to the vocals that allows singers to have a very delectable timbre. Technicalities in the mid-range are above average in its price point. Listening to music where the electric guitars and pianos have some lovely interplay, with each instrument taking turns with the melody, the Autumn is able to keep up with the change of the main tonality. Now with that said, layering on the Autumn is pretty good. Treble. Not harsh and not lacking in extension either. The typical culprits of cymbal and crashes are well defined without being a cheese grater on your eardrums. It is airy enough for the rest of the frequencies to sound spacious. With that said, I must add that details on the whole for the Autumn are good. Not hitting excellent, but definitely good. For the price, I think the Autumn is a very mature tuning from BQEYZ. Sure, its technicalities cannot match your flagships. To be honest, I was not even expecting this, but this sort of signature at its price point with good technicalities is an easy recommendation. If you already have a neutral warm IM and want something that is more neutral, do consider the Autumn. It will be less jarring of a switch than going straight to an analytical IEM. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching the Superchong Super Audio Show. I would really like to thank you guys for tuning into this channel. It is growing, and you know, I couldn't have done it without you guys. If there are more content that you want to see, do let me know, and I will try to just pump them out for you guys. So, you know, I'm always contactable via my Facebook group or my direct link in the link below. Just drop me an email if you want to know anything. And if you like this video, kindly press the like and subscribe button down below, and this will really, you know, help me gain more points on the YouTube analytic thing that's going on. Thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate it. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye guys!